Hello, everybody. Welcome to our podcast, Everything Product. We talk about latest technologies with a product mindset. I'm Sid Saladi. I work as a product manager for Best Buy.
Hi everyone, this is Phani. I'm a product manager at a startup.
This week we have actually started with a new series, which is the interview series, and we did our first video last week, which was about product design. So if you guys haven't checked the video, please go and check our video on product design. So we'll be continuing the series where we'll be talking about different practices in interviews, doing mock interviews, and all of that stuff. For today, we have a mock interview planned for you. So where I'll be interviewing Phani on a product design question. So I'll ask him a question. He'll answer the question, and then we'll get into back of what went well, what didn't go well, and all of that stuff. So yeah, tune in to see how I'm going to interview Phani here. So putting on my interviewer hat, let's get started, Phani.
Awesome, absolutely, Sidhu. What question do you have for me?
Sure, yeah. So pick a product you like and walk me through how would you improve that product.
Okay, absolutely. There's different ways we can pick the products, right? So one thing that I'm thinking about is I'll talk about AirPods Max, which is over-the-ear headphones that's produced by Apple. Is that okay?
Yeah, that's good. And also, maybe let's uh, take like 20 minutes to do this question. Normally, in a typical interview, it's like 30 to 45 minutes. But as this is a recording, let's maybe shorten it down to 20 minutes.
Okay, sounds good. Let's do that. So just to make sure you know what the product is, right? So AirPods Max is an over-the-ear headphones that produced by Apple, obviously, and it is one of the premium products that's in the market, which is priced around like $450 to $550. It gives the basic capabilities such as operating your music. Like let's say you're listening to songs, you can with the click of a button you can pause and play, and with the double click of the button you can go to the next song, etc. And one of the core capabilities that it has is its noise cancelling. I've actually tried this myself. Like even if a vacuum cleaner is running right next to you in the room, you can still continue to do whatever you're doing with like very limited noise from the room. So that's one of the premium capabilities that the headphones provide. It also has some modular capabilities, like if you want to remove the cushion that it has to change it for a different color, etc. You can do that for, again, a premium price with Apple, but it also gives some of those modular capabilities. That's the overall product. Any questions you have about the product?
No, absolutely good. So I'm also a big fan of Apple's noise canceling. I use AirPods Pro, so I love the noise canceling in them.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Now, the way I will go through this overall video, Sidhu, is I'll start with the overall goal or the metric. Like I'll imagine myself as the product manager for Apple AirPods Max, and I'll start with the overall goal. I'll define the what are the metrics that we could use to like track, and then I'll go into like identifying the users and their user needs. I'll prioritize the user needs just for the sake of this case, and then I'll define the solutions that we can implement as product managers, and then I'll prioritize those solutions as well with the limited constraints that we might have. And then I'll also go about identifying the flaws of implementing those kind of solutions, etc. And then finally I'll summarize the overall solution. Does that sound good?
Yeah, sounds good. But before you get into the answering the question, I would like to hear from you. Like, why did you pick AirPods Pro?
Yeah, absolutely.
AirPods Max. Sorry.
Yep, absolutely. So AirPod Max is one of my favorite products. I use it, if it's not on a daily basis, I use it multiple times in a week. I've been using this for more than a year now, and it helped me a lot in terms of focusing. Like let's say if I want to sit as a product manager and write one of my PRD documents, I would want to think about like different use cases, etc. So I don't want any kind of noise around. So it helped me a lot. And I've used other over-the-ear headphones in the past. This is one of the headphones that I felt like I can use for a very long period of time. So I've been a huge fan. So as a product manager, if I could think of solutions that can enhance that, that'll be awesome. So that's the reason I picked it.
Yeah, go ahead.
Awesome. Let's start with the very first step, right? Identifying the overall goal or the vision of the product. So let's say I'm the product manager of Apple. Apple as a company doesn't really focus on capturing the revenue, because what they believe in primarily is if you're building the product right and if you're giving whatever is needed for the customer, eventually customer would pay for the product. And that's what they have proven for MacBook or iPhone or anything, where they price the product at a premium price, but at the same time they make sure to give the product right. So the overall metric that I could think of for AirPods Max is the market share. The reason for picking up that metric is, even though so many people might be avid Apple users, they might still not be using the AirPods Max given its price. And it might not be needed for everyone, because if you're a regular customer doing daily activities, you might not need like a proper noise cancellation. But even the customers who might need such kind of features might not be using it given the price. So capturing that market share within the Apple avid users would help us gain obviously the revenues that is needed for the product, etc. It will help in like several other factors. So that's the reason I would pick the market share.
Sure. So, is the assumption that uh, AirPod Max is established product, or is it like a new product? Like, what is the assumption on that?
The assumption is that it's an established product because it has been in the market for the last couple of years. But at least my thought process here is, even though it's been there in the market for the last couple of years, I don't see crazy amount of people using it. I only see very minimal people. Even if I observe my teams, or even if I observe my friends, etc., I see very limited Apple AirPods Max. I would see probably AirPods, or I would also see like over the ear headphones for like Bose or Sony and others, but not Apple.
Sure. Yeah.
Cool. Now that we established our overall goal, the first thing that I would do is understanding the users for this customer. So when I think about AirPods Max, right, the primary customers that I could think of is, let's say, developers. So I work day in and day out with the engineers, right? They would want to think about a specific code or a specific logic, where when they're sitting in an office space, there might be a lot of things that's going on. People might be talking, there might be trolleys going around, noise, etc. So they might want something like an over-the-ear headphones that can help them focus. Another customer that I could probably think about is, let's say, content creators. These are the customers who would want to like create a video or create a shot and then edit it by adding so many other audio filters to it, and then publish it to some platform such as YouTube. So these could be avid users because they also need something that will help them like listen to audio at a perfect pace. And the third customers that I could think of is editors in probably like, let's say, movies or short films, something like that. These guys also have very similar requirements where they need to clearly listen to the audio, be it when it is recording in a studio, or be it when they're editing that software. I mean, editing the video, they might want to clearly listen to what's going on in the video. So those could be the three personas that I could think of. Obviously, there is general audience as well, where let's say I'm traveling, I want to sit in an airport and work, or let's say I want to sit in the flight and work, etc. This could be general audience as well. But for the focus of the case, I think the top three customers would be content creators, or video editors, or developers. Do you have any preference on the user persona that you want me to pick?
Yeah. Maybe let's go with content creators.
Okay, sounds good. Let's do that. Within the content creators, now let me think about what are the typical user needs for the customer. So the way I would do it is, let me start by thinking about the user journey on what the customer would do, and then I'll identify the user needs based on what they do. So When I think about a content creator, let me put myself in the customer's shoes. Let's say we want to record a video about how to answer product design questions. So what I would typically do is brainstorm the ideas, document all of the ideas at a certain place, document what is the content that we could talk about at a very high level. Then all of us would meet, probably like record the video, and then record all the audio that we talked about. Then I'll also find out any additional audio things that I would need to edit the video and stuff. Then go back, work with software such as like Final Cut Pro, where I edit the software, add all the additional audios that I want to add to the video, and then I finally go and publish it in YouTube. So this is probably the um, pre and editing steps and all the post steps that I would take. So when I think about this customer, what are the typical needs that they would have? So the first one is, so I'm spending so many hours in like creating the video, using those headphones at the time, and at the same time, like after the video, after creating the video, then I'm gonna go back and edit probably for a few hours. So with this, I would probably need something that's much more comfortable to wear, which I can wear for like longer periods of time. That's probably the very first need. And the second one is, since I'm wearing these headphones and there could be a lot of other things that's happening around, I might want to like cut that additional noise. So I need like proper noise cancellation headphones. But at the same time, if I'm using for a longer time, I'd want to listen to something as well. So it should have both the capabilities at different levels. That's probably the second need. And then the third need that I could think of is, given that I would want to use like different kinds of sounds in my video, there might be times where I'm actually recording such sounds as well. So like, let's say if I want some metal cracking sound or bird sound, etc., I might want to record some of these. So probably a good microphone capabilities that will help me record as well. So some of these things would help. So I'm thinking probably these are the top three needs from a content creator perspective. Is that good, or do you want me to identify some more needs for the customer?
No, I think we could.
Okay. Out of these three needs, instead of us trying to solve for all of them, right? I think we can pick the recording as one of the aspects. The primary reason I'm thinking about that is because the first and the second one, which is basically like ease of use, which is basically using it for like longer period of time, making it comfortable, battery life. I think Apple solved them to a certain extent. There could definitely be improvements that we can do there, but I think Apple solved it to a certain extent. Even the second need of the customer being able to cancel out the noise or listen to the other people, that also I think Apple solved it to a certain extent. There could be different levels that we could create there, but Apple solved it. But the third one, which is basically to like record in an excellent way at a certain atmosphere, I don't think Apple has solved it. And being a premium product, like Apple AirPods Max being a premium product, the more capabilities that we could give to the customer would feel that, hey, this is the product that can actually help me do my things faster and easier. So maybe if we could solve some of the use cases there, that will help the customer and eventually our market share. So I'm thinking we can pick the third use case of like recording. Do you think that would make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense. And your criteria for prioritizing that would be, better user experience, I'd say, for that particular person. Is that it?
Two, we
Yeah.
could think of it two ways. The first one is, it's an unmet need for the customer,
Okay.
because the customer wants to do it, but I don't think any of the products in the market are solving that need. And the second one is, it's also a differentiating factor. Like when when someone's trying to like buy headphones, and if they're trying to compare with Sony and Bose, which are probably meeting like 80 to 90% of their needs, they need something different in order for them to like buy Apple. So probably this could be a differentiating factor when we compare it to the other competitors as well.
Okay, yeah, go ahead.
Okay, sounds good. Now that we picked the need of recording, let me think about different solutions that we could give to the customer. How do generally people record something? So there could be microphones, like separate microphones, like handheld microphones that the customers can utilize to point at a certain place. I've also seen like different types of microphones, like point microphones, which can actually point to certain things, or like wearable microphones, which someone can wear and then record certain things, etc. But when I think about the AirPods Max as a product, it's an over the ear headphones, which might not be able to point to a certain thing, because the primary focus of that headphone is probably like capture the things that the person is telling, but not to like capture something else outside. So when I think about solutions, probably the first thing that I could think about is accessories. Either we could partner with additional customers outside, other companies outside, or we can build some accessories that could be handheld and it could point to certain thing. Like let's say if I'm pointing to uh, a certain, like a bird or something like that, I should be able to like capture that exact voice for that bird or for that machine, etc., and I should be able to capture that. The second solution probably I could think of is within the headphone itself. Maybe we could create a software that can help us point to a certain direction. So like let's say if I want to capture something in front of me, or if I want to capture something underneath me, etc., maybe that can help the device in itself try to modulate it within like let's say 5 feet distance to capture that volume. Because basically at the end of the day, what it's basically trying to do is capture the volume at a certain place. Okay. What else can we do? Okay. Another thing that we could probably do is, let's say we leave the headphones somewhere to record. It can probably record all the things around and then help the customer distinguish all the sounds that happen there through a software where any content creator can capture like 10 different sounds and take whatever thresholds or whatever frequencies that they want from that and remove all the other sounds. At a very broad level, these are the solutions that I could think of. Anything you want me to, do you want me to go through different solutions additional?
No, I think we are good. So basically what you're proposing is you want to capture the user need of, creators being able to record, right? Whatever environment they're present in. And these are some of the solutions which will basically help them do that. But one maybe one follow-up question there, like, do you think record creators would be using the headphones simultaneously while recording things? Like, do you think there could be use cases like that?
Yeah, absolutely. um, I could see a lot of creators actually doing things outside, right? Because we are people probably like sitting in our rooms and recording, but I know a lot of creators probably who go outside, talk to people to capture some questions, or who I've also seen people who are actually going outside doing some kind of things where they ask questions or like capture what is going on around and then publish onto their channels. So those could be the primary content creators who would need to record something. But I know many of these people might have to like spend a lot on those additional devices that they will have to use to record. But we will be able to like help them save money by not buying like multiple devices. and at the same time not having that hassle of either not recording something right or recording something but not capturing it in a better way.
Sure. Yeah.
Cool. Out of all of these solutions, right? Um, I think there's different aspects for each of them. The first one that we said is basically additional accessories, but additional accessories could be this similar thing that the customers are doing right now, where they're spending additional amount. So maybe I would not want to do that because it's not probably a differentiating factor. The second solution that I gave is basically through a software customer capturing a certain audio in a specific way. I think that could be a good one because um, with probably the current capabilities that exist within the AirPods, we can create a software that can help modulate where it's capturing. So that's definitely something that's probably like lower effort for us, but at the same time, it can also help um, capture the recording feature for the customer. And the third solution that I proposed, which is basically helping capture all the audio at the same time and then do a differentiation. This could also be a similar thing because without even like pointing to a certain place, it would basically capture all the audios that are present at a certain place. But within the software, the customer can differentiate all the voices. Um, I would want to go to the solution number 3. The primary reason is, like I said earlier, we would want to build something that is differentiating for the customer. And if the core aspect of the customer is to uh, capture all the different audios and then edit the video, and if we are able to tell the customer saying, hey, go to a forest and leave your AirPods Max there, we will capture all the sounds that come to it. And then we will differentiate and tell you, hey, this is the bird sound, this is the water sound, this is a fire crackling sound, etc. And if you can easily like cut those and edit it, that could be a differentiating thing for the customer's videos as well. So that would be something that I would prioritize. It might be slightly more effort than the second feature, but I think this will help us differentiate with other customers and at the same time build features that can actually solve the customer problem. There could be additional drawbacks for sure because we might have to do a lot of testing when we test out this feature because there could be a lot of noise that we record, and clearly differentiating each of these audios might be difficult, but that's something that we will have to look into. Overall, I know we are probably at time. So just to summarize overall, right? I've picked AirPods Max as my product that I want to improve. And based on the product, I went about to like identify the overall metric, which is to capture the market share. And the way to capture the market share is to probably identifying the right user needs, which are not supported in the market. So I went about identifying the user needs, and then we identified the user need of recording, which is probably not being solved or being solved through additional accessories. So we went about identifying the solutions that we could do with the AirPods Max itself. And the solution that we concluded is to give the capability to record all the sound that's happening around and then giving a software that can clearly distinguish what sound is what. And then finally building the solution for the customer. Hopefully I answered it. Any specific questions from you, Sidhu?
No, I think we're good. So yeah, really a good job, Funny. So yeah, maybe let me take out my interviewer hat here. So I think that was a really good discussion, right? So while you were talking through this thing, right? I was looking at a video somewhere where people were, I think, using AirPods Pro in concerts. They were actually using that. They were not using noise canceling, but there's also an option which passes sound through, right? So I think they were using that. That actually cuts the noise and it only sends you the music inside. So that's a really interesting way of using it. So I was like, oh man, that could also be a use case. But yeah, but I think should we get into the feedback?
Yeah, absolutely.
Sure. Yeah, and also to everybody who's watching, right? We did it in a very constrained way, right? Like we did it in just 20 minutes. So Fanny did a really good job going through all of these things. But just to make sure this is in an interview format. I'll be super critical. Even though he covered most of the points, I'll try to pick each and every thing he tried to mess up in the interview. So let's go through that. So I'd say overall I like the pace at which you're going through, right? Like all of that. I like the way which you initially talked about the product, and explained me that okay, these this is what the product is and all of that stuff. And then you kind of showed me the roadmap of how you will be answering the question. That was also really crisp and good. And then you went into the details of what each persona does, and what are their preferences and all of that stuff. Also, before you went into the problems, you also went through the user journey, so that's a good way to uncover the problems. That was also really good. Then you went into the top user needs, then you picked one, went into the solutions. That was good. And also you were asking for clarification questions sometimes, where asking me, checking with me, all of that stuff. So these were all the really good things which I liked in the interview. Now getting to the part. So I felt that if you could have uh, maybe told the vision, Apple's vision, and tied everything back to that, that could have been good. Sometimes, it depends, right? Like what product you are trying to do and all. You could clarify it with the interviewer, or if you knew that, you could iterate that. Because I thought specifically with Apple, right? Their vision basically is bringing the best user experience to its customers through innovative hardware, software, and services. So I thought you could use this as a I think a criteria to filter out the user needs or solutions. So that was one thing. And one other piece was, I know that this we wanted to do it in short time, but I thought we could maybe have taken more breaks sometimes, to think and process the information. Also, that was one of that. And other places which I felt there could be improvement were criteria specifically. The reason is that's why I was pushing you towards like any specific criteria. So the points which I got was differentiation and not used before and all of that. Maybe I was maybe looking at trying to understand like what is the intensity of that need, or the frequency of the need, or something like that, right? That kind of criteria for the prioritizing the problems and also the solutions too. So that was one area I thought where you could look at. And yeah, I also like the way which you pick the product goal. But finally, maybe if you could have just talked about a success metric one or something, that could be good to back it up and round the story all over. So I think these were some of the observations, but this is just me being more critical. I think I tried to go through all the rubric which I had, and you covered most of the points there.
No, that was great feedback, Sidhu. I'm on the same page. I like that feedback. Yep. Thank you so much.
Yeah, and also one other thing, everybody who's watching this, right? So even though you do it really good while you're practicing or doing mocks, and the actual interview, you are maybe 20 or 10% less efficient than the practice sessions, right? Because I think you have to do it on the fly, and there's a lot of things going on and all of that stuff. So it's really good for you to do more and more mocks, as me and Phani did, right? So I interviewed him, gave him feedback, and he basically improve the next time. And once you do like 10 or 20 mocks, then you'll be at a place where you'll basically cover up all the problems which you might have. Yeah.
Awesome.
Sure. So everybody, thanks a lot. I would say please subscribe to our channel, Everything Product, and we'll be continuing the interview series with a lot of different videos. So please stay tuned to the next videos which are going to come out.
Awesome. Thanks, everyone. Have a nice day.